probably just spit more than a lot of a lot of rappers in Pittsburgh are willing to freestyle. So that's hilarious. All right, we're good. We're cozy. All right, man. You know the deal. MIC podcast, where everyone is a master of their own creation. Episode 158. Again, 158 of them things, man. And our guest today, his debut book, What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Blacker, was nominated for an NAACP Image Award. His follow-up book comes out June 3rd. It is called That's How They Get You. We have the one, the only, the incredibly observant and witty Damon Young in the building. What's going on, Damon?
Incredibly observant,
yes.
witty.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
no,
that intro.
Absolutely, man. No, this is not, my words again, just people reviewing your work and diving into
just
your
telling
work.
you is like, that nigga's incredibly witty.
Yeah, right.
Incredibly observant.
So I gotta believe it. Yeah,
right.
So I just gotta take, what they said, but I'm sure that'll come to fruition as we're just getting into the throes of your career, man, and just all the dope shit that you've been a part of, man. We appreciate you taking the time, man.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Nah, bro, of course, man.
Yeah.
Nah, absolutely.
I've been in over place, been Federal Galley quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
We come over here. I've been in over place quite a bit, but I've never been here.
Yeah,
in this part of it.
Yeah.
Especially not to record. So.
Hell yeah, man. No, we happy to have you, bro.
Yeah, this is fun.
Just kind of hopping into it, bro. How long have you been a writer or an author?
I mean, there's two ways of answering that question.
Yeah, right. Let's just go strictly writing.
How long have I been writing for a living?
Yeah.
That's probably since 2009. How long have I been a writer? Since 1989.
Wow, yeah.
You know what I mean? Since, sixth grade?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my dad was a writer. My dad is a writer. My dad, would journal. And this is before blogs, before the internet. And, that's just what he would do. And he would journal, and he would just have these really tremendous essays and thoughts that he'd write out or whatever. And he would help me with my essays, or take-home essays and social studies, English class, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I would get A's. No, he would get A's.
Type vibes, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean? He's the one
Word.
A's, but it unlocked something for me where I was able to see, once you have a command of language and, there's all the places you can go.
Right.
All the places you can explore. And I've always been more of an introvert.
Yeah.
Also. And so this was also a way for me to express myself in a
Absolutely.
way that I wasn't always as comfortable doing out loud. I mean, it just... And, basketball is my first love.
Yeah.
Play basketball, high school, play basketball, went to college on a basketball scholarship.
Right,
actually. But writing had always been, my other thing.
Yeah.
Then I get to college, and my career didn't really pan out. My basketball career didn't really pan out the way that I anticipated being. And I'm not going to be that cliche nigga who is talking about, politics.
Yeah, right.
The coach.
Yeah.
The coach,
yeah, right.
your coach.
Coach didn't fuck with me, man. I don't know. I was nice, though. I was nice, but...
I mean, I am nice.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
Nice. Still am nice.
Yeah, right.
But, I had injuries, I had conditioning issues. There's all types of things.
Yeah, it definitely, kicks up at the collegiate level, right?
And, once you're playing Division I college ball, that has, you have to devote your life to basketball if you want to be good.
100%.
If you want to be good at that level.
100%.
And so I focused more on the writing.
Yeah.
Once I got into college.
Mm-hmm.
This is also the time when spoken word poetry was a zeitgeist driving force. You had Love Jones, you had people like Jessica Care Moore and Saul Williams, you had Def Poetry Jam. So that was a part of just a general ethos. Even the music that we listened to,
right,
sometimes would have poetry. I remember the Roots would have Ursula Rucker at the end of their albums, right? Just performing the poem. And so I started writing poetry. And that's actually a lie. I started plagiarizing rap lyrics.
Okay.
And passing it and giving them to this girl I liked.
How old were you at this point?
20, 21. 20, 1920.
No, that sounds right on par for 20.
Yeah.
Let me rip these rap lyrics off. Go get my girl.
The thing is, it wasn't even some obscure shit. It was like woo. It was like method.
How did she take to these lyrics?
She was like, "Oh, this is nice."
Word. Spit a whole RZA verse. Let me go get my girl.
Then I eventually started writing my own poems.
Okay.
And then that transitioned to essays. Then I was like the editor of the black newspaper on campus. Then I graduate. My cousin Honey Young, who was a very popular DJ in Pittsburgh. Now
your cousin's DJ Honey.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. That's not. I mean, I don't know why I thought I wouldn't know that, but that's crazy. Like I didn't expect. That's like, dope, man. Shout out to Honey, son. That's super dope.
Shout out to my little cuz.
Word.
That's the homie. She's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And she's the one who actually got me into blogging.
Okay.
She actually is a fucking dope ass web designer.
Okay.
Also, and she designed my first blog. And I started blogging, and then
what was your blog about?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Working, dating, shit I watch on TV, clothes I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
Just a journal.
Mm-hmm.
Literally just a journal. And got a bit of a fan base based off of that. Then in 2004, I met this guy, Panama Jackson.
Yep.
Who also had a blog.
Yep.
Right. We became friends. And then in 2008, we decided to come together and create Very Smart Brothers.
Yes, sir. VSB boys.
And during that time, I still had full-time jobs. Like when we started VSB, I was working at Duquesne University.
Okay.
I was working in a college prep program at Duquesne. And we were a victim of the recession. The program shut down. I got laid off in 2009. And at that point, I was like, you know what? Let me see if I could do this right thing full-time.
Right.
And I was on long-term unemployment 2 years. Mm-hmm. I think it was like at that point, because of the recession, you could be on unemployment for like 51 months or 51 weeks or something like that.
Okay.
Well, no. Like 100 weeks.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Like
so if it was 2 years.
Yeah, so like close
sense.
to 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I took all that shit.
I mean, word. As you should have, your good brother.
And I put a lot of effort and energy into my blog.
Yeah.
And getting better, reading a lot, experimenting a lot. And then eventually, I got my first writing related job with Ebony Magazine.
Fire.
They like revamped their digital presence. This was in 2011. And then I got more and more opportunities that just kept coming. Very Smart Brothers kept growing in popularity and in impact. And then I got a grant that, the Advancing Black Arts in Pittsburgh grant, actually in 2014.
Did you apply for that?
Yeah,
okay.
I applied for it.
Dope.
2014, and I was able to help transform Very Smart Brothers from a blog to more of a digital magazine with that grant.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's crazy. That's dope.
And 2016, I got a book deal.
Oh yeah. Your publishing deal, yeah.
Yeah, through Echo, which was under HarperCollins. And then in 2017, we sold Very Smart Brothers to Univision.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Which
Univision
owned Gizmodo Media Group, which owned like The Root, The Onion, the AV Club, Deadspin, Jezebel, Life Hacker, IO9, all.
And that's all under Gizmo.
They were all under. It was called Gizmodo Media Group.
Okay, Gizmodo. Okay, yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, and again, it was owned. It used to be Gawker Media Group, but then it changed to Gizmodo Media Group.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, because like I've heard of Gawker.
Yeah, so Gawker, it was that, and Gawker was the original site.
Word. Okay.
And all of those sites, like the Jezebel, the Deadspin, all of that were kind of under the Gawker umbrella, right? And then some legal fuck shit happened with Gawker, and they were sold to Univision. I'm always mispronouncing that. Univision, right? Which bought all the properties, and then they bought us, and we merged with The Root.
Yeah.
In 2017, and then I worked for The Root as a senior editor for I think 4 years.
Okay, yeah.
And during that time, I written for GQ, New York Times, Washington Post, had regular columns. I'm just repeating my Wikipedia page. Like, bored by this.
Nah, bro. Like, I feel you, and like at this point, and like, bro, for anyone who may not know you, it's definitely new information to them. But for someone like you who's spoken, at various degrees of his career, you feel me? Like, I can see how we get that way.
I mean, my first book, What Doesn't Keep Makes You Blacker, came out 2019. It's a memoir and essays, the tragic comic look at the angst, anxieties, and absurdity of existing while Black in America. It did pretty well, won some awards, nominated for some others, some adaptation conversations happening too. And then my next book, That's How They Get You, which is an anthology of Black American humor, will be out June 3rd this year. And I'm also writing 2 books to sell, like my first fiction. I'm working on that. And I'm also working on a children's picture book.
Oh, shit, dope.
Concepts, and
that's far.
That I'm
so if y'all did know, this nigga's writing, and he could definitely beat you, definitely beat you one-on-one. You know what I mean? Let him rest up a little bit, but he could definitely, hoop on you. So if you need it, but I do want to take it back, man. Again, like you're originally from East Liberty, man. Like just talk about growing up and how was childhood life for you?
I mean, my childhood was. I thought I had a tremendous childhood. I was fortunate to have, both parents in the house and around. My dad is still my dad's my nigga, my homie, still one of my best friends. Also, now, my mom unfortunately passed.
Sorry to hear that.
12 years in September. So it'll be 12 years in October. And thank you. But so we actually lived in Verona.
Okay.
At first.
How far away is Verona from?
Verona's far.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not far.
Yeah, but like a couple hours type of. Like,
oh no. It's if you're going to Penn Hills, just keep going past Penn Hills, and then.
I'm tripping. Okay, yeah. My fault. I was okay. I think I might have been thinking of somewhere else besides Verona, but.
Oh no, Verona is. I mean, it's far.
Yeah.
But it's not like far.
Type like if we're talking in terms of the city, like I guess it's far type vibes. Okay.
So you go to Verona. I mean, Verona's out like near Oakmont, and then you could maybe even get like New Ken, like whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, so we moved to the city, and I loved it. One, there was other kids my age. It was mostly Black neighborhood. Was able to play free frog in the street. Do y'all know it? I don't even know if they can still play free frog, because free frog is actually free for all that we call it free frog.
Okay,
right. I didn't recognize that free frog was there's a type of word for when this happens, and the word escapes me. But anyway, free frog is just a shortened version of free for all.
Yeah.
Right. Which
is it like manhunt type vibes?
Where you play football on the street.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. No.
Whoever catches it,
Yeah, we used to call it. Well, like actually, no. I think it's a different game. You ever played a 500?
How do you play 500?
That I think that's kind of like a newer age, like my generation type of vibe, where it's like same deal. Like someone is throwing the ball and like they'll say 200, and like whoever catches it gets 200 points.
Okay.
So and then it's like first to 500, and like there'll be like special rules, like if it touches the ground, it's dead or alive, like anyone can grab it, and like there's a tussle over it, and like whoever gets it gets the points type vibe. So
okay,
yeah.
That sounds like a fun little game
for
your generation.
Yeah.
Okay, mine. I think our game was a little better.
Yeah,
it's a little bit more dynamic.
Yeah. I won't argue with you.
A little bit more dynamic.
A little bit more cutthroat. A little bit.
A little bit more strategery also was necessary in that game too.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, it was. I grew up in this neighborhood. A lot of kids around my age. Hoopport's really close. I live again in East Lib, and I could walk. The court is still there, but the hoops aren't there anymore. But outside of what used to be Peabody High School, which is now Obama, there's basketball courts there, and I used to go there every day. And then there's Penley courts, which you had to cross East Liberty Boulevard and keep walking, and those courts are over there too. So you had courts within walking distance.
Word.
Which was great for me. But then I was just actually talking to somebody, my barber, about this today, about how. Like it felt like overnight when like gangs overtook the city.
Damn. What year was that? Would you say?
I would say this was like early 90s.
I mean, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so like early 90s, and there were Bloods, there was Crips, and there was the Law, which was Lincoln Avenue in Wilkinsburg. And it was just like niggas because I was a hooper, so I knew people in every hood.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, yo, why you are Crip now?
Yeah. We was just
on the same team at the
right.
Homewood Wild.
Yeah, now you throwing the setup like,
now.
yeah, word.
Where they do that?
Yeah, niggas switch jerseys.
That happened a lot.
Word. Yeah, I mean, like I'm sure during like that time.
Like, and I write about this a little bit in my new book about it was like, you know, niggas was cripping like how rich white women joined Goop or some shit. Like it was like there was a trial subscription.
Yo, niggas said
crippin'.
Goop, and Goop is definitely a gang. Goop is definitely don't let Gwyneth
Yeah.
Paltrow fool y'all. Nigga.
Yeah,
that shit is definitely a whole
like,
set.
You know,
like,
and let me join in. You know, let me get the trial subscription before I have to actually pay for
yeah, word.
that week. You know, just you know. Whatever.
Me try on the Goop, yeah. Let me try on the Crip jacket for a week.
and a lot of that was happening.
Yeah, man.
A lot of that was happening. But again, growing up in a neighborhood like that, you know, you just had to learn how to be observant, how to be aware, how to be hyper cognizant of manners, mannerisms.
Facts.
You know, you have to learn how to be able to flex, how to be flexible, how to be nimble. And
all survival skills.
Right? And those are skills that are applicable for any situation,
any arena,
but particularly in an environment like that, you have to develop those skills in order to just literally survive.
Yeah, I mean,
but also, you know, to have a life, to
get an advantage,
have friends,
to
you know, to be able to move around.
Right.
And I think a lot of that also helped my writing.
Hell yeah.
You know, just being hyper cognizant of you know of characteristics and observing things and also being more mindful of how I'm existing in the world and my own mannerisms and my own, you know, insecurities and vulnerabilities and self-consciousnesses and anxieties and neuroses and all of that. Right?
Just by way of living, like, I feel like, you know, your writing is just always going to benefit from that. Like any great writer has lived life. You feel me? Yeah.
I mean, you're not writing memoirs as
right.
an embryo.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
You do have to, got to experience some shit. You know, you got to live a little bit, and hopefully. And the thing is, I don't want to be the nigga that says that acts like, you know, that a prerequisite for being good at this or being good at anything is experience.
Right. I agree with you.
Some experienced niggas who
are
whack as fuck.
Yeah. Like that experience made them whack.
Like that phrase, practice makes perfect. Not if you're practicing the wrong shit. Practice makes permanent. But practice doesn't make perfect.
I like that.
You know what I mean? And
Facts.
so
real shit though. Nah, whatever you practice a lot, that's exactly what you gonna do. That's exactly what you gonna do. Like,
you know, get better at the shit that you're practicing, even if it's not the right shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, just growing up like that, you know, my situation wasn't particularly unique. You know, people,
regular,
people like us around the country grew up in similar circumstances, and but again, I think all of that just helped me become who I am today or whatever. And it's funny because I was talking to my barber earlier today, and
you got cut today?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah. No, bro. I was there the other day.
I'm trying to be fresh.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Trying to be fresh.
I respect it, man. Thank you so much for it.
Of course.
Yo, we appreciate that up here, son. That's it.
And I was talking about how, despite how dangerous it was back then, I didn't feel any fear. Yeah. I felt fear for, like, my parents. I was like, I hope nothing happens to them.
Yeah, right.
But as a kid, you feel, you know, when that's what you know, you almost feel invincible. And, you know, I was joking, like, if I were meant to live, if I lived in an environment like that now, I'd be terrified.
Yeah, I mean, bro. Yeah, of course, son.
Yeah. But at
you 13, got a different stage of life too.
At 13, it was like, oh, this is fun. Let's go out. Let's hang out. Let's,
you
know, do this.
It seems inconsequential at like 13 to, like, you know, you're just like, looking at shit, not really knowing the gravity of like, what you're around type vibes. But as far as like, cause like, you mentioned your pops was, is a writer, and he was helping you out, early on with school and everything. Early on though, like whose works spoke to you, and like, if it's your father's, like, which ones, just like as far as like writing or just any books or
Okay, the first adult book that I remember reading was The Godfather, by Mario Puzo, which obviously you know the book.
Yeah.
The movie series, iconic movie series based off of the book. That book is like, because I had seen the movie already.
Right.
I was like 12, and I was just reading the shit that my parents had around.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I love this movie, so let me read the book. And that book is like pornographic. There's parts in that book, if they would have put that in the movie, it would have been an X-rated movie.
Damn.
Like entire sections. The day I was like, yeah, we can't include
that's
this
so like
in a movie.
how you even get in like the mind state to vividly describe a sex scene like that.
That's what you gotta do. If you're a writer, that's what you gotta do.
Yeah, right,
that's
right.
What you gotta do.
Right.
So that was like the first adult book I remember reading.
Godfather is crazy at 12. That's wild.
The autobiography of Malcolm X by Alex Haley, and just remembering just how Malcolm X's life is almost like Forrest Gump's, when he was just around so many different like iconic parts of history, right? Like just randomly, like he's Alex Haley's writing a story or whatever, like back when before he was Malcolm X, when he was Detroit Red, whatever, and working like as a bus boy,
right?
And there was this other bus boy who was like always had jokes, was always like really funny,
right?
That bus boy was Red Fox.
Get just the random, fuck out! That's ill shit, like that. Nigga. That's ill.
Like random interactions with like Ella Fitzgerald before she became like Ella Fitzgerald.
Dog,
like,
that's
random stuff.
I feel like that's like Pittsburgh though too a little bit, because like like you'll like kind of bump into people or like be in certain places, and like I think it's in kind of a stage where it's like 10, 15 years we'll look back and be like, yo, who was in this room? Like that's kind of crazy. Yeah, do you don't agree, or like
no, I don't disagree. I'm just,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, fair.
And I'm just trying to think. So I get to college, and I'm trying to think the books that really animated me in college. The Broke Diaries by Angela Nissel.
Okay.
Which was hilarious, and I had like the biggest crush on her too for a while. She's actually in my new book, Angela. We know each other now. Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. I was assigned to read that in this class where we had to read like war related books.
Okay.
And it was the first book that I read that actually it didn't just make me laugh out loud. It induced a physical reaction.
Wow.
Where I like threw the book across the room.
Wow. Yeah. Like, right. One of those joints. Yeah. Facts.
And then The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien.
Tim O'Brien, okay.
Yeah, which is about the Vietnam War.
Okay,
and his experience in the Vietnam War, and that was another book that was just tremendously written, tremendously tremendously traumatic. Okay. Right, some of the things that he goes through, but the writing, and one thing about Tim O'Brien is that he's a lister. Like he'll start off entire chapters with just lists, entire paragraphs, entire pages that are just full of lists. Right, and not just lists like 1, 2, 3, 4, but you could structure a paragraph in a way where each sentence is a list. Each sentence you're just going through and you're listing things over and over again, and that's something that I feel like I adopted in my writing too, because when you write, everybody's style is just a combination, a mismatch of 100 people's styles plus your own sensibility.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you take this piece from here, this piece from here. And so for me, I took pieces from Tim O'Brien, pieces from Joseph Heller, pieces from Angela Nissel, pieces from Toni Morrison when I was younger. And then I got, a bit older, pieces from Bill Simmons, who was, the most popular blogger at that time.
Right.
Pieces from Chuck Klosterman, who was my favorite essayist at that time. Get a little bit older. Pieces from Ta-Nehisi Coates. Pieces from Kiese Layman. Pieces from, who else? Disha Filial. I mean, I could just go on and on and on and on, where you're surrounded by all this really dope work, and you read it, and there's a couple things that you could do.
Mm.
You could do these things at the same time too, where you read just a really dope essay or a really dope book or something that's just like kind of just
strikes at you, or
haunts you, whatever. You could think, okay, this is really good, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to do a thing like this.
Right.
And you just appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah, no, right.
Or you could be like, well, this was really good. This was great. And now I see this as something to aspire to. Not necessarily how they wrote it, but to create the feeling in a reader that this thing created in me.
Facts.
Right. And that's, I just saw a really interesting quote right before I came here. It was on IG somewhere, and it was, I forgot who said it. It was a writer, and someone had asked him about like the audience, what the audience, I think the question was, what audience do you have in mind when you are writing? And his answer was essentially, I don't give a fuck about the audience.
Right.
I care about the reader.
Right.
Just one reader. I want whoever's reading the book. I don't care about like this nebulous, amorphous audience. I care about reader.
Right.
Right. And for me, I take it back even. I like when I'm asked that question, when I get in front of people and I'm asked that question, like, who's your audience for your work? Who do you have in mind when you're writing? And like my answer is always the same. It's me.
Yeah, facts.
It's me.
Right.
Like, I write the things that I need to write. I write the things that entertain me, that challenge me, that haunt me, that terrify me. And I hope that people connect with it. I hope that, it finds an audience out there somewhere. But if I'm not feeling it, then I'm not writing it.
Right.
And so, that's that I'm who I care about most when I'm creating that work. Now, obviously, if I do this for a living, I do
care about how
I like people.
Yeah.
I have to
you want to receive
out, and people.
No, bro, I was
gonna have to read my work and buy it and support me.
Interact
I want
with
that
them,
to continue to happen.
Yeah, right.
But I'm not writing to them
for that goal, like necessarily. Like, and bro, just even like going off your point, bro. Like, there is a Rick Rubin quote, and it says, you may have heard of it, but the best thing that you could do for an audience is not listen to them. And again, like you said, like, obviously, we're not in this business to like have no one see what we do. You feel me? Like, we want people to engage, we want people to connect with it, but like at the same time, it's like you're not doing everything to serve the audience. Like you said, like it's gotta be for you. No, definitely. So just kind of going back, VSB, Very Smart Brothers. You co-founded that with Panama Jackson. Most shout out to Panama, man. If you just, and like you touched on it earlier, but if you just kind of want to speak on, go into a bit more detail about what life was looking like for you leading up to it, and then how it came about initially.
I'm trying to think how to phrase it in a way distinct from what I already said. Because it, like I said earlier, it was us. We became friends. Panama and I. Panama lives in D.C. I'm here in Pittsburgh. He was also, a popular blogger at that time. And then in like 2007, we started talking about an idea to like create a blog together.
How'd y'all meet? Y'all hoop together? Like, how'd y'all meet?
We met through the internet.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Okay.
We met through Blog It. I mean, it was just.
I fuck with your work, like
That's it. Like, we didn't meet in person. We started Very Smart Brothers in 2008. We met online, became familiar with each other in like 2004. We didn't meet in person until 2011.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so
that's
we
wild.
had Very Smart Brothers for 3 years.
Yeah.
before we actually met in person. There was a party. We had a party in DC to celebrate the 3-year anniversary
It's hard.
of VSB, and that was our first meeting. I drove down from Pittsburgh. A few of my friends came down also. We had a good time.
What's it like running a blog with someone like you? You don't meet for 7 years. Like,
I mean, and the thing is, we talked regularly.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, how many people have coworkers, that they never see for weeks and months?
Yeah, right.
Just connecting on Zoom.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so I feel like that dynamic is actually probably more prevalent now.
Yeah.
Than it was then, where you don't necessarily meet a person in person.
Yeah,
and you're still able to
forge a connection.
To connect with them or work with them and whatever. And so at the time, whenever I tell that story, people are always like surprise, fabric acid, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it just was just what we did.
Yeah.
And granted, Pittsburgh to DC is not that long of a trip.
Yeah, and I was about to say I'm from Maryland. Yeah, so like
and so I definitely could have driven down to DC.
Been that, yeah.
He definitely could have came up to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but
since then we were good friends then. Now he's one of my best friends.
Sure.
I was in his wedding. If I had multiple groomsmen, he would have been at mine.
Word.
We actually haven't seen him in person in about a year.
Okay.
But we still talk all the time. We still text. We still talk on the phone. And so VSB just came from that friendship and that respect for each other's work.
Yeah, definitely.
And we had a third partner, Liz, who did a lot of the back end stuff too. And Liz stepped away when we went from the blog to the digital magazine.
Word.
In 2014.
Okay.
But yeah, that's and for people who don't know, Very Smart Brothers was like a culture blog, with irreverent takes on race, on pop culture, on culture itself, on politics, whatever was stuck in my craw or whatever was animating me, whatever was interesting to me at that point. I was like, okay, I'm gonna write about it.
Right.
So you might see a piece about a new Kanye album, and then you might see a piece about rules of the barbershop.
Yeah.
You might see a piece arguing that flats are the superior part of the chicken wing experience, which they are.
I agree.
Drums.
I agree.
Yeah,
of
course.
Yeah.
Because there's no other answer.
I agree.
If you want a drum, just get a motherfucking drumstick. What's wrong?
Thought this was the Renaissance fair. Niggas eating a whole chicken.
Get a wing.
Yeah, right.
Then you gotta have
flats have to be in the.
You gotta have wing integrity.
Yeah. So, respect your wings out there, people.
Yeah, respect your wings.
Yeah, word.
And so that's what Very Smart Brothers was.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, it's funny. We actually initially, back 2008, started off as a dating and relationship.
Oh, for real?
Based site where we were offering like irreverent, funny, tongue-in-cheek takes on those subjects.
Yeah.
And at that time, that subject was really popular. Was again a zeitgeist driving force. You had Steve Harvey's Act Like a
Think
Man, like a whatever.
Yeah. Right, I know, right?
So that was a big deal. Fucking Hill Harper had a relationship book. The actor. Finesse Mitchell had a relationship book.
Wow,
right? So
Hill Harper, Finesse Mitchell with the
there was a lot of that.
And no disrespect to Finesse, I'm sure he can finesse his, but that's just funny. That nigga
there was a lot of that happening, and so we got in that mix. But it was a bit of a Trojan horse because we knew that would
that's the way into
that would drive traffic, have people paying attention, and then once you get people there, it's like, oh, we actually
do
talk about all this other stuff,
right,
just these few topics.
And that's exactly how you do it. I mean, like you don't need me to tell you, but like, what was it like trying to get a blog off the ground in like that blog era? Because like that's definitely when that like 08, 09 period, like blogs were booming for like music. From like a music standpoint, that's where like a lot of my favorite music came from, was that era. So like, yeah, what was it like trying to get a blog off in that era?
I mean, you just did it.
Yeah.
You know, just kept at it and worked at it. Like the people who were successful at it, you know, yes, you needed to have some talent, right? And needed that, you know, your work had to be distinct, right? Your writing, you know, because there was so much out there, so you had to, you know, had something that kind of broke through the noise, whether it was your voice or your subject matter or whatever. So that part is necessary, but you also just had to just do it. Like, okay, this is kind of a weird analogy, but you know, when I tell people that I hooped and college or whatever, particularly young people, and some of them might say, "Oh, you know, I want to, you know, I want to hoop, you know, I want to play in the NBA," and so I'll ask them, say, "Okay," like I don't shut down anyone's dream. If that's your dream, okay. Well, let me tell you though what you need to do, to do that, and let me ask you some questions. So, when was the last time you hooped? Oh yeah, it's been, you know, it's been about a week.
Yeah, anything other than yesterday, nigga.
Okay. Do you hoop on your school team? Nah, the coach. Okay. Do you watch basketball? Do you watch the games? I mean, I watch hop. And so it's like
you really want to
be a hooper, right? But your life isn't consumed with basketball.
Right.
So do you actually want to be a hooper?
And it's okay if not.
And
also
okay,
that.
It's fine.
Yeah, right.
It's fine if that's not your path. That's fine. But if you say that's what you want to be, that's who you want to be, then you have to your life has to be consumed
100%
by the thought of that.
Yep.
Right. And so the people who managed to make a living from that blog era, right, were people who you know, who were not just dedicated, but almost like manically,
absolutely. I mean,
maniacally motivated to do this thing for a living.
Absolutely.
You know, like for me, it was like, fuck, what else am I going to do,
bro?
I need for this to work. I need to get better.
Yeah,
that's another thing. Getting better. You have to get better.
Yeah.
Now, for writing, that means you have to read. That means, but not just read. You have to live, and not living in the way that we were talking about earlier, where I was talking about experience, you know, whatever.
Right.
But you know, a key part of any artist, right, is the ability to be empathetic. An ability to be able to see other people's perspective, even if you disagree.
I agree 100%.
But to be able to actually just put your head,
the lens on,
put your mind, you know, in someone else's.
Facts.
Right. And be able to inhabit another person, being able to inhabit another person's, feelings,
train of thought, or
whatever. Right. And that takes some time.
100%, man.
To be able to do that. Right. But when you're able to do that, then again, it's something that could be,
takes to a whole new level,
universe, like a wormhole that just expands, that takes you to a whole nother place, right. And so all those things, I believe, and also some luck. I've had a lot of privileges.
Need a good amount of that.
I've had a lot of privileges, a lot of people who helped me out, but I've also, I've had a lot of luck. Like I had, I didn't have your traditional writer's career.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if a 25-year-old me could follow the path that a 25-year-old me today.
Yeah, right.
Could follow the path that I did and be successful.
Yeah.
Because the blogs don't really exist the same way they did before.
Yeah, no,
it's more like if you want to do that sort of thing, people are like, I'll write a skit for TikTok or I'll write a thing for IG or whatever.
Right, yeah.
And that wasn't me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I would have developed that skill, but that wasn't something that I was as comfortable doing.
Sure.
I was writing, like I do that stuff now. I had a podcast. I'll do I have Instagram or whatever, but writing is the thing.
Core, right?
Everything else is supplementary to writing,
right?
Everything else,
yeah.
And so in terms of luck, just I was born at the right time.
Hell yeah.
for this particular path.
Definitely.
And there's other ways that I've been lucky too. And I think any person who's had some success who discounts the value of luck.
Yeah, I mean, bro, yeah. Like, I don't think you really
the value of just right place, right time. Sometimes, like, motherfuckers act like yeah, I just grinding and that's it. It's
they just
all
vibe
me.
their way
it's
there.
All it's like
grinding and vibes. Like,
yeah, and you need some things to go in your favor too.
Let me ask you this, and like, it's like this clip that's been flown around of Anthony Mack. I just want your perspective on it. Like, you've probably seen it at this point too, but like, he was saying to that point, right, that like success isn't given. Like, no, success isn't earned; it's given. Like, just to related to basketball a little bit, right? Like, obviously, everyone who wants to be in the league won't be in the league. Like, someone has to be like you. Like someone has to be like. It's you. Like, all these other people are putting in the work. They're grinding. You know what I mean? But like, you're the one that's getting the opportunity.
I mean, I think sometimes Anthony Mackie just be saying things. I like him in movies.
Right. No, but you know what? Too, yeah, that nigga be freestyling, right?
You just be saying things sometimes. So I take everything you say with a grain of salt.
Because it was definitely like because obviously for like the new Captain America or whatever, like he's getting like the whole treatment or whatever. But it's definitely the first time he's popped out really doing interviews. You know what I mean? So it's like it's the first time we're really getting to see like, all right, son, like what's going on? Like,
I mean, so all right, so if we're gonna use sports as an example,
yeah.
All right, so my oldest closest friend name is Brian Carroll. He we grew up together. He also hooped.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Shinley, then went to Loyola in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Hooped for them. Played overseas for a bit. Now he's coaching in Luxembourg. He lives in
Luxembourg.
Luxembourg.
Okay, yeah, word. All right.
He's been over there for 10, 15 years.
That's
now.
hard, word.
Right. And he's been around professional basketball. He's 6'8", so he's a big guy. And he said something years ago that always stuck with me. Excuse me. About how we're just using the NBA as an example.
Yeah,
there's like 400 some players in the NBA. 85% of them are supposed to be there. 85%.
Right.
But 15% of those guys maybe could be replaced by someone in G League, someone playing overseas. Okay. But with that 50%, they're there because they fill a role. They're there because, I don't know, their contract works. They're there because they're a great teammate.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, yes, there are always going to be talented motherfuckers who have, who, if things could have gone a different way, maybe could have been able to have a certain level of success or achievement if things had gone differently for them.
Yeah.
But again, if we're using a sports example, the people who are supposed to be there are there.
Agreed.
Like the people who 85% of the people who are supposed to be there are there.
Right. Yeah. Facts. Right. Like niggas ain't
maybe,
just there because right.
Yeah. And again, do you have the mentality to humble yourself and be one of those 15%, one of those people who's willing to do anything to be on a roster?
Right.
Do you have to be the star in order to succeed?
Right.
In order to function? There's some people, again, always coming back to basketball, who can't really function in a dynamic unless they're the star. You know what I mean? It's like the guy
I know exactly what you mean. I'm trying to think of a player
like
that
the
comes to
person
mind.
who their only value on a basketball court comes when they're allowed to take 30 shots.
Right.
But the thing is, yes, maybe you could take 30 shots and you could do well, but is your team going to be successful?
Right.
If you're the one taking 30 shots.
Right. Shout out to Jordan Poole.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of niggas in the league who get their rocks off.
Word.
If they got 20 shots a game, but are you going to win games?
Right.
Like, is your coach going to have a job? Is your GM going to have a job?
Damn,
if you take 20 shots a game?
Right.
That's the question. can you take 20 shots a game and make half of them consistently?
Right. To lead to a victory.
And so even with, going back to writing and any other type of art, there are people there are definitely people who don't necessarily get the love that they deserve. And one distinction between, I guess, the art world and sports is that sports is more of a meritocracy, whereas art, and what people consider good art and who gets funding and who is successful and what's considered success, all of that is very nebulous.
Yeah, right.
A lot more nebulous than what happens, in the athletic arena.
Right.
But you still got to work hard.
Definitely.
Like whether you get your shot or not, whether you get that luck or not, when you get that look, you still have to
perform.
When someone looks your way, you still have to be able to be like, yo, I have all this.
Yeah, right.
This is what I have.
Yeah.
So that
if they looking ready. And you not on, it's like that could be the last look you ever get type vibe. So it's like, not 100%. This I want to talk about your publishing deal that came with HarperCollins. That came in like 2016.
Yeah.
And then What Does a King Makes You Blacker drop 2019.
Yeah.
So what was that like 3 years with you? What did that all just go to writing the book or like what was?
Yeah, and so I signed a deal, and it was a 2-book deal with Echo, which is again an imprint under HarperCollins, and it was at fall of 2016.
Uh-huh.
It was like October of 2016 when I signed the deal, and then it takes about 2 years to write a book.
That's crazy.
And so I was done. I was done with like the first draft in like a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes through rounds, submitted to the editor. They take a couple months to look at it, send it back. Then I look at what they've done, their correction, or not necessarily corrections, but their suggestions and their this, that. My agent also serves as a bit of an editor for me too.
Mm-hmm.
So I would share stuff with her also. And then so there's just like this back and forth process, and that goes on for months. And then by, I want to say, October of 2018, I was done.
Okay.
And then, once you're done with the third draft, then it has to go through legal. It has to get vetted. It has to go through copy edit, all that stuff. And that stuff takes months too.
Yeah, right.
And then, the book came out in March of 2019.
Oh yeah.
So the distance, so again, 2 years to write the book, and then from the time the book was done, another 5 or 6 months for it to actually be in stores because of all the things that need to happen.
Yeah.
All the marketing, all the publicity, all of the art on the book, the cover, that's like all of that stuff. We were talking about fonts.
Yeah,
wow,
right,
all that
right.
shit matters.
Yeah.
Like when you're talking about books and how strange the market is and people want things to sell, and so the cover matters, the type of font on the cover, the type of font on the back of the cover, like the picture, of the artist, the blurbs that are on the back of the book, which are, for people who don't know what blurbs are, those are
so blurbs is like an actual word.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those
all
are
right.
those are like quotes of praise that you get from your peers.
Okay.
So if you get find any book in any bookstore, look on the back, and you'll see like quotes from like greatest book ever from Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Yeah, right.
This book makes me want to give up writing to be a sailor from Toni Morrison.
Whatever. Yeah, right. This book changed my life, Queen Latifah.
Yeah. So you get, and that's a process too.
Yeah,
where
right.
You reach out to these people.
Yeah.
And you basically, you're like, it feels like asking a whole bunch of niggas to the prom. Because you're reaching out and you're asking a bunch of people. Some of them you might not even know. That's to like funny. Say really good things about your book.
Yeah, right.
So that
right.
it could go on your book cover.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate, I got really good blurbs. I got one from Ava DuVernay. I got one from
that's fire.
Ibram Kendi. I got Brittany Cooper.
Did you know Ava? Or like, was that just like a blind reach out?
We knew of each other.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I still never met her in person.
Ava's not from Pittsburgh, is she? Okay, word. All right.
And so And so
Yeah.
that my deal. This is going to be kind of some book related inside baseball, but
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're
No,
asking, I'm going to say.
not, bro. Please.
So the deal was a 2-book deal, 2 books of essays. My editor, Denise Oswald, left Echo in like 2021, I want to say, and she went to Pantheon.
Okay.
Pantheon is under Random House, which is the biggest book publisher in the country.
Wow. Okay.
Penguin Random House.
Okay, got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so I followed Denise to Random House, and so now my deal is with them.
Okay.
And so I still have another book of essays coming as part of that 2-book deal. But I signed another deal.
Just recently?
Well, a couple years ago.
Okay, all right.
And that's where this anthology is coming from.
Okay.
So that's a whole separate book deal.
Yeah.
And right now I'm actually trying to get 2 more book deals this year.
Yeah.
Because that's, if you want to make
the gig, yeah.
Writing, you have to write books.
Yeah.
And, and just to give, a bit of background, how that process works.
Please, yeah.
So with the nonfiction process, you create a thing called a book proposal. And a book proposal is a document that you and your agent put together. Sometimes it takes months to put together. And so for a nonfiction book, a book proposal will have sample chapters. So like maybe 3 or 4 chapters that are going to be in the book.
Okay.
You write them out.
Yeah.
Your sample table of contents, your bio, all of your media contacts, why you are the person to write this book.
Interesting. Okay.
What distinguishes your book from similar books that may have been published in the last 5 or 10 years, right? And so you take months compiling all of this, and it ends up sometimes being a 50 or 60 page, document,
right?
Whatever. And so when you're done with that, then you send it out. You send it out to publishing houses, and you hope that someone will buy your book,
right?
Based off of that, right? And that's how a book deal happens.
Yeah.
So a publishing company will read the proposal, the executive editor, the company will offer a deal. And then I was fortunate enough that when I sent my proposal out, there were multiple companies that were interested. So we were able to like have a bit of an auction.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's
happens.
Dope. That happens sometimes.
How are you feeling when that was the case?
I was
sure.
It surpassed my wildest dreams.
Yeah,
because I did not anticipate that happening at all. Because first time, I'm thinking, is anyone even going to be interested in this shit? Is anyone going to buy this? Does anyone want this?
Right.
And then the offers that were coming in, I was like, whoa, wait, what?
Yeah, hold up.
And we sent the book out, I think on a Thursday, and by Sunday we had a deal.
Dope, bro.
So it was like a whirlwind.
What
turnaround?
Was there any did the same thing click for everyone who wanted to buy it, or like was it different aspects that garnered interest? Just like as far as like the proposal that you sent in, like was it just the content of the book? Was it why you were the one that had to write this book that kind of garnered interest, or was it
it's it's this total package.
Okay.
So it's when you create the proposal is what they're buying, they're investing. Think of it as like, there's some similarities to how the music industry works, where like a new artist might make like a demo tape and send it out to different record companies.
Okay, yeah, right.
And then if companies love it or whatever, like I don't even know if it works that way now. I don't know how it works, but back in the day, that's kind of how.
I'll say demo tape, yeah.
I don't know if that's
that might not right. But like I get what you're saying though. But
so it works in a similar fashion.
Yeah.
And so that's with nonfiction. With fiction, same process, but you have to write the whole book.
Okay.
You have to write the whole book first.
Right. So they can see if this shit is.
and then
right.
You sell it.
That makes a bit more
to a publishing house, and then they buy it, and then you go through edits and drafts and all
Yeah.
that. But you have to write the entire book.
Hell yeah.
With fiction.
No, not for sure. Like thank you for just even walking us through that part of the industry, man. And again, bro, with your debut, book again, like what does Key make you, blacker, bro? How did what inspired the title with that?
It's funny. So the original title, the title that I sold the book proposal with, was Nigga Neurosis.
And this is an official medical term. I'm not sure if y'all knew, but yeah, please break down
it's
nigga
official
neurosis.
now.
Yeah,
I
word.
made it official.
What are the symptoms of nigga neurosis?
Okay, so this was a term that I coined years before, like back on Very Smart Brothers, as like a way to encapsulate the state of being. We're always questioning if people's behavior around you or people's treatment of you is related to your race. So, like for instance, let's say you're in a department store, whatever, and one of the sales clerks asks if is following you around and asks if you need help. Can I help you? Can I help you? So they could just be doing their job.
Option A.
Yeah.
Could just be doing their
Could
job.
just be doing their job.
Word.
Right? Could just be they could, work on commission and
Word.
like they want you to buy something.
Facts.
Or they're doing it because maybe they're doing it because you're black.
Yeah.
So I mean the thing is you don't know.
Yeah, right.
You don't know. Or
Right.
like or even something that's a bit more immediate and a bit more even, nefarious or whatever. You're driving and you look in your rear view and there's a police car behind you. Now, or maybe the cop just happens to be going the same place you're going, which 9 times out of 10
could happen.
Which nine times out of 10 is what's happening.
Yeah, right. Could
Probably
happen.
99 times out of 100 is what's happening.
Right,
They just
right.
happen to be behind you.
Yeah.
If they're on the road, they're gonna be police that also are driving. But then there's also it's like, well, maybe they see who's driving this car.
Yeah, maybe they suffer from
made a
nigga
decision.
neurosis.
They made a decision, and so that questioning, that like not knowing whether like that perpetual questioning of your own reality,
right,
can create like a neurosis. And again, I wrote a blog and nigga neurosis,
right.
And so that was going to be the title of the book. And again, I sold a proposal with that title, book deal, all that stuff. Book has that title.
Yeah.
So, first draft is in. We're still, long in we're about a year and a half in the process.
Yeah.
I get a call from my editor at Echo. It's like, Damon, we can't wait for your book. We really
in that exact voice too. Hey,
yeah,
Damon,
we
listen,
really love everything that you're doing. The draft just looks tremendous. But that title, I talked to my people. We talked to our people at Barnes and Noble and our people at Amazon and all the other big booksellers. And they could carry that book, but I don't know if they could promote it the way that we want them to promote it. Right. So we should probably.
Yeah, I think we should go with
a different title.
Yeah, you know what?
So,
some work.
So it's summer of 2018. I'm on the plane going to Essence Fest in New Orleans.
Okay, wow.
I was doing an event.
How was that?
It was amazing.
Yeah. I'm sure that was probably wild as hell. Yeah,
it was amazing.
Word, okay.
Yeah. I'll say that if you are a single black man,
make your way to
a single cis-het black man, then there are worse places to be
than Essence
in the world
in New Orleans.
Than Essence Fest.
Let's go.
I was not single.
Word.
Yeah, I was already married. I'd already been married for, this is 2018, so I'd already been married for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying if you are a single black, if you're
the single compatriots,
cis-het black man who is interested in black women, then go to Essence Fest.
Word.
Make some time.
Yeah. Block off some time to Essence Fest. Yeah, word.
So anyway, I'm on in New Orleans also. It's just a dope festival.
You feel me? And like I know I definitely want to visit someday, but not to cut you off.
So I'm on a plane, headed to Essence Fest, and I'm working on one of the drafts. And what doesn't kill you makes you blacker just came to me. And so when I get off the plane, I immediately call first I Googled it.
Okay.
Just to make sure it didn't already exist as someone's,
mm-hmm.
play or some shit.
Right.
And then I called my agent, called my editor, boom, we got a title. And to me that title just it encapsulates, I guess, in the beginning of the book, in the intro of the book, I talk about just how necessary it is to subvert and extract any inkling of like respectability that maybe exists in you. And it's something that is hard to do because we're socialized
Right.
to assimilate. We're socialized to consider the other as aspirational. You know, we're socialized to be cognizant of the white gaze, right? And so subverting respectability is something that, you know, can be a lifelong process, right? And it's something that, you know, I attempt to do with my work. I attempt to do with how I exist in the world. And I felt like What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Blacker was just a perfect encapsulation of that feeling of like, you know what, in order to survive and thrive while Black in America, we got to lean into this shit, you know? And again, that title was much better.
Yeah, I mean,
Nigga
right.
Neurosis. And I'll even admit, I've said this before, I'll even admit that I was a bit of that. The Nigga Neurosis title was a bit of a troll.
Yeah, right.
Because I had like this fantasy in my head of me going on like CNN, and it's like Anderson Cooper, and it's always Anderson Cooper in his fantasy, and he's like struggling. It's like, so Damon, your book.
The title of your book, if you want to give us the title of that real quick.
Ninja, can I say ninja?
Yeah.
Ninja.
Yo, what if he just spun on you and just like hit the title just real quick on you? You're like, what? Live CNN. You like, damn, man, it's not fuck it. Like,
okay.
Word.
But yeah, the title we went with, it's a better title.
No.
I got it. I got it tattooed on me.
Yeah.
I gotta get the new title tattooed on me. I'm running out of space.
Yeah, bro. Not for
so
sure.
I need to figure out where and how. That's the most, not just where, but how, because I don't want it just to be words, and it needs to be something that is also like, you know, has some design quality too. So if there's any enterprising tattoo artists in the Pittsburgh area that are listening to this, like, I'm looking to get some more work. I'm looking to incorporate the new title or the title of my new book on me somewhere. So if you have any ideas for That's How to Get You, DM me.
Hit up Rita Santana, man. I think they could get you right.
Wait, what did he say?
Rita Santana. Rita Santana. Yeah, they're a tattoo artist out here. I go to them. Yeah, you know, they could definitely get you right.
Okay.
I do want to touch on your next book. That's How They Get You. Is there anything in your approach that was different from What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Black, or was it like a bit more the same train of thought?
Well, I mean, this book is an anthology, and again, for people who aren't aware of exactly what that is, it's a book with multiple contributors, and so this book has 24 different contributors.
Wow, okay.
Plus me, all with original content, all, you know. In some anthologies, you know, when people think of anthology, they also maybe think of things in like an academic, you know, sort of context first, and so I had to explain to people like this. No, this isn't like an academic study of like humor. This is me getting a whole bunch of gifted, talented niggas I know, be like, yo, be funny.
Word.
Write me something funny, a funny short story, a funny essay, a funny rant, something, and I'll put it in the book.
That's dope.
And so that I will say I will never do an anthology again because having to wrangle a whole bunch of niggas.
I was about to say, bro, like, how'd you even go about?
But like their agents and their agencies, and that's just. And I'm so proud of what has been created and the people who submitted did tremendous work. But the getting that work, that's just not some people. You know, you need to know what you're good at. You need to be self-aware.
Yeah,
and that part is just something I'm just not great at.
Does like some of like more of those administrative aspects, whenever you are, you know, writing a book, like kind of bog you down? Do you just want to write?
I hate that fucking shit. That's why I said I'm never doing that again. Ever doing an anthology.
Yeah, right.
And I what actually sped up the process, because I was bogged down for like a year and a half where I was just stuck in like this bandwidth bottleneck.
Ah, man.
Right.
Yeah.
And what actually helped me, I hired somebody.
Yeah.
To handle a lot of the admin stuff and the contract stuff, because everyone has to get paid too. So
facts.
So doing all of that stuff and keeping, you know, just getting all the T's crossed and I's dotted. And I'm not a T crosser or I dotter. That's just
Yeah.
And so that helped tremendously. Her name was Carol, and she did a really, 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 really great job, and I was really thankful for that. But
No, man, shout out to Carol for lifting some of that weight up.
Thank you, Carol.
How do you because like you made this an anthology, and What Is You Makes You Black, which is like a collection of essays from yourself. How do you decide on how to structure each book you're gonna write? Is it just like a spur of the moment thing? Do you have like an idea at least going in?
Well, with the so with What Does It Kill Makes You Blacker is a memoir and essays, and so the essays are told in somewhat of a chronological order.
Okay.
Right. And so that helped give me a structure.
Fair.
Right. But the difference, and I've tried to explain this to kids also when I get in front of kids and talk, between a memoir and an autobiography is that a memoir, has a theme.
Okay.
Autobiography is just like facts
Here's my life.
details and whatever. But a memoir, you pick and choose what you are going to talk about, what you're going to write about, and it connects to larger themes of maybe masculinity or economic anxiety or self-consciousness or whatever, right? And you also have a bit of a character arc too, in the same way that you would with a novel, with a character in a novel. And so there were certain, like when I, and the idea to write a memoir wasn't mine; it actually came from my agent.
Okay.
But when she came to me with that idea, there were certain things that happened in my life that I was like, oh, I need to write about this.
Fact.
I'm definitely going to write about this. I'm definitely going to touch on this theme. Definitely going to touch on that theme. The first chapter in the book is called The Nigger Fight Story. And when we came up with the idea to write this book, I was like, yes, this chapter doesn't need to just be in the book. It needs to be the first chapter in the book. And so it and it nigger, not nigga.
Right.
Nigger
I was about to say that ER was conscious.
ER is definitely the hard ER.
Word.
Right. And so back in like 84, 85, my parents and my grandma, my nana, my mom's mom were like in Squirrel Hill, Sunday, post church at some deli. My dad's actually at Giant Eagle or somewhere, so it's just my mom and my grandma. My nana, we called her Nana. And like they had some sort of altercation or some sort of disagreement with like the white boy who was working behind the register. And he ends up calling them black nigger bitches. Damn. So my mom leaves, go gets my dad. My dad comes back to the store and was like, yo, I'm going to count to 10. If you don't apologize to my wife or my mother-in-law, I'm going to kick your ass with this baseball bat. Because my dad got a base. I don't know where he got the baseball
Young
bat
Sting.
from. Yeah. But he had a baseball bat.
Word.
So the boy, the kid, I guess he was like 18, 19, didn't apologize and got like a knife, like a butcher knife. So they start fighting, right? And all the while my mom and my grandma, and my grandmother was an award-winning organist.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
My parents, had memberships to the Manchester Craftsmen's Guild. Like they're not people who fight.
These are classy citizens. Like right.
And they're breaking windows. They're throwing bigoted olives and racist,
Jesus,
M&Ms, on the ground, breaking glass, just trashing the store.
Yeah.
The police come. Because again, this is Squirrel Hill. This is Sunday.
Yes.
Squirrel Hill. Right?
Right.
Police come. They get arrested, all of them. They're in the back of like the paddy wagon, whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Then this black sergeant or lieutenant, a black woman with some sort of authority comes through and is like, oh, y'all are free to go. And they're like, wait, what? Oh, you were racially harassed, so you're free to go. It's like, what about the story? If y'all niggas don't get the fuck
Yeah. I'm trying to
Before
No,
these white
before,
people
I don't even
realize,
work
I'm like,
here.
y'all
Yeah,
go.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I just put this shit on. I saw what was going on. Like, get the fuck
outta here,
out.
please.
Right, word.
Okay. So for my parents were both storytellers, and they would always tell the story about, it's an amazing story to tell.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
yeah, right.
And I would hear that story as I'm a young kid at this time, and I would feel like a bit of insecurity and some FOMO too, because I had never been called a nigger to my face, and I wanted to be called one, just so I could have a story like my parents did.
Right.
Just so I have a story about the time I whooped like some white boy's ass for calling me that.
Yeah.
Right. And so that fucking crazy, I don't know if you even call it anxiety.
Right.
It's something that I want to write about.
Yeah.
It's something that I want to, if you're going to read this book, if you're going to read a book from Damon Young, this is going to be the first chapter, so you know what the fuck you're getting into when you read this book, because it's going to be about a black boy wanting to be called a nigger, just so he could beat a white boy's ass. And then it finally happened to me. I was 15. I was waiting for a bus in Penn Hills, actually. Someone drove by in a Ford F-150, screamed it at me out the window.
Par for the course.
And I it's funny because it was nighttime too, and I looked behind me. It's like, oh shit, you talking to me? No,
any other niggas here? Let me just do the quick
one here.
Yeah, right.
And I just started laughing. Like it was just like, and it was like all of that pressure that I put on myself, one, to be called this terrible, awful thing,
right,
and also to respond to it. It's like, this is bullshit. And that was like the last time that I allow like a white person's treatment of me to dictate how I felt about my blackness, right? And again, I was 15,
right?
But I felt like, okay, if I'm going to write this book, I need to write that story, and so there are other stories, and What Does a King Makes You Blacker, that again connect to certain themes. And so with the anthology, it was more about, okay, I want a bunch of distinct voices in here. I want distinct perspectives. I want distinct ways of writing an essay.
Okay.
I want just like, for instance, Nicola Loon, who wrote the book A Sun Is Also a Star. She's super duper popular.
Yeah.
Right. Not A Sun Is Also a Star. You cut that part out. I think she didn't write that. She wrote The Hate in You.
Okay.
Which ended up being a movie with Amanda Steinbrück.
Sounds familiar.
Can you edit this?
Yeah. I mean, we don't got to. I mean, like, that's it. Okay. No. Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure I get it.
No, for sure. It sounds familiar though.
The Hate You Give.
The Hate You Give. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure.
And
that's it.
And Amanda's like that blonde chick.
No, she's.
Oh wait, no. She played no. I'm thinking of someone else. She played Rue in Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Amanda Stenberg.
She did write. See, I knew I was right. She did write The Sun Is Also a Star, and then also.
Yeah. Just make sure you're holding the mic to your mouth when you speak.
Okay, can we start back?
Yeah. You're
anyway,
good, bro. Yeah.
So yeah, for instance, I have Nicola Loon in it, and also have Dee Watkins in it, who are two tremendous authors who have completely just distinct writing styles, distinct perspectives. They're both writing about raising a daughter and experiences of raising a young daughter in America, but they write it in such a distinct way, right? Where you have two authors, same subject matter, but stylistically, sensibility, everything is distinct. The choices they make on the page is distinct. And so, again, I have stuff like that in there just to show the breadth of Black American humor, and this is just a snapshot.
Right.
This is just 24 essays. This, it's just 40 million Black Americans, and there's 40 million ways to be a Black American.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, I tried to do the best I could to capture, this and a relatively, short span of time or short space. And I'm really looking forward to people being able to read it and being entertained and being animated, by the things in this book, because it's a really fun book. I will admit that I've had some ambivalence about releasing a book of humor during this political climate, right? Like, are people really going to want to read, like, with some of the people in the book, like Kese Lehman, Hanif Abdurraqi, Mahogany Brown, are people going to want to read, like, funny content from them now, today? And that little voice, I know the answer to that question, right? The answer is still yes, right? And it's on me to tell that little voice in my head to shut the fuck up.
Word.
Because, of course, we're going to, because, and the thing is, most Black humor is also political humor, right? Like, we can't divorce our Blackness from anything.
Right.
And so being Black is also a political act in America. And so if you are, anything you do, I won't say anything you do, but many of the things that you do, right, are going to be politically connected in some capacity.
Word.
Yeah.
No, Damon, thank you so much for sitting down with, me and going through your entire career, bro. Like, appreciate you for taking the time, man. This is the point of the pod where if you want to plug anything again, got the book coming out June 3rd, but if you're, popping up, speaking anywhere, got anything going on.
I mean, I got this mixtape, I gave y'all.
Word,
I gave y'all some previews.
Word,
you heard me spitting it.
Facts.
Real tight. It wasn't a 16. It was like a 6.
Word, a tight 6, right.
A real tight 6.
5 in a bonus. It was 5 in a bonus.
But if you're not interested in the mixtape, then That's How to Get You will be available June 3rd. I'll be touring. We'll be doing some events here in Pittsburgh, so you'll hear about it. I also have an event coming up May 1st with Hanif Abdurraqi. It'll be downtown at the Greer Theater.
Word.
So that should be a lot of fun. So yeah.
Want to plug your IG if you want people to follow you, like if you do, or
and I'm not really on social media as much as I used to be, but if you do follow me on IG, and it's just my name, Damon Young VSB. Damon Young VSB on IG.
Damon, thank you so much, bro. Absolutely, man. Listen, MIC podcast, man, episode 150, when there was a master of their own creation. We got Damon Young in the building, and we're out, bro. Peace.
All right, thank you.